Hello and welcome back to the channel where today we are going to be ranking every League One stadium. Yes, I'm sure there'll be a bit of controversy to some fan base. I'm sure there'll be some that agree with me, there's some that don't. But please do let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. Like and subscribe as well. It really means a lot to me if you show your support. And let's get straight into the video. So we are going to be ranking these grounds from 24th being the worst all the way through to 1st being the best, including ourselves, Huddersfield Town, who of course will be in there as well. I'm sorry Luton Town fans, but you are up first. Yes, starting with Luton Town at the bottom of this list in 24th. Sorry Luton fans, I know you had the glitz and glamour of the Premier League not so long ago. We are back down with ourselves, Huddersfield Town, in this division. We'd spent a bit of time in League One and most recently in the Championship together, and we are back together again indeed. So look, your ground, it's not necessarily a problem with the ground, I would say that. The area it's in is terrible, absolutely horrible. It's not a very nice place at all. The ground itself, getting in and out, isn't very pleasant either. The view in the away end is poor. I'm not just a fan of the modern stadiums, as you'll see from this list. It's not necessarily all about the modern stadiums, but yours is not somewhere anyone really wants to go back to once they've gone once. So that, for that reason, you're bottom of the list. Sorry about that. Moving on then to second bottom in 23rd place, Burton Albion. I think a lot of people may question my decision why I put Burton higher than Luton, but the truth is, it's just a much better, pleasant experience. The views are better, albeit a bit cramped in the away standing section. You know, I recognise that I've been, and I recognise that it's not, you know, when it's full, you don't really have much space to manoeuvre, which isn't the best. Obviously, it is one of the smaller, intimate stadiums, which is perfect for Burton, except for the club itself. It's located in an area with plenty of parking, and actually, you feel like your car is going to be safe. And it's and it's just overall a much better experience than Luton. So, albeit it's not really anything great to look at, it does a job, and for me, it's higher up on the list than Luton, albeit still quite near the bottom. Up next then is Stevenage, which is actually a ground I've not yet been to actually, and hopefully I will get to it this season. But based off what other fans have said, overall, it is supposed to be a really nice ground, no real complaints about it from many. It's on the small side, but obviously there's lots of parking across the road, which obviously is really convenient to people that obviously do want to drive themselves. A few places as well to eat nearby, which is always good when you go on the way there. You like to have, you know, some kind of options to eat before you go in the ground, if you like me anyway, because I don't really like paying the prices of inside stadiums. So I do like to get something before I go in if I go to an away game. So yeah, it's very convenient to have that there as well. And it's nothing overly special, I would say, but the facilities, from what I've heard, were a bit of a pain, you know, for walking in the away end, a bit of a long walk. But yeah, that's all there is to say about this one, really. And that's why I've put them in 22nd place. Up next then is Exeter and St James's Park, of course. Another ground I haven't actually been to, you know, but one that is on my list to go, but go to this season, hopefully. But basing off what others have said about it, obviously, it does, a lot of people do say it has that character to it, which is why I've not put it lower down. I think when a stadium does have a little bit of character, you do tend to have it a little bit, you do have it a little bit higher for that reason. It's a unique, kind of quirky stadium with all four ends different in look. So you've got the one on the side which doesn't stretch the length of the pitch. It's a bit of a strange one in that regard, but yeah, it is what it is. It's a lower league side stadium in this league. But it does its job absolutely. A lot of people say it has a good atmosphere down there too, which obviously also adds to that experience for an away fan. And yeah, a bit of a long trek for most of us though, isn't it, in the league? But yeah, Exeter for me, 21st in this list. Fifth from bottom then in this list is in 20th is Lincoln City. And again, a stadium I've not been to, so I'm going off what other fans have said about it. Similar to Exeter really though with this one, with one of the stands only taking that small portion of the sides. I'd be intrigued to know why it doesn't go all the way on. So yeah, if you do want to let me know down below in the comments, if you're aware of why, Exeter fans, if you're watching this, let me know. Now, also looking at the away end, it is described as being okay. The facilities are very poor. It's quite average overall. Nothing too exciting, but one thing that does go in their favour is they do create a good atmosphere. Many describing them as, the best home fans in terms of noise they've experienced in this league. So yeah, fair play to them for that, but the ground isn't really very exciting, and that is why I've got them quite low down on this list. Just ahead of Lincoln is Northampton, another ground I haven't been to yet, the Six Fields. So yeah, again, I'll be taking on an overall fan's perspective on this one again. The ground itself, a lot of people say it's nice, not a big stadium, but the access is good and easy to get to. It's always convenient and useful. The view is good, the away end is decent, and I think, like I said, overall, it's just an average, decent ground. Obviously, in League One, there is much better ground than this, but it does a job for them. So it's definitely not the few worst in the league, but yeah, for me, it's in 19th place. In 18th, then I've gone for Peterborough. I've been a couple of times, to be fair, and it's a stadium that is obviously bigger than the last couple we've looked at. But from my opinion, the ground is run down in many places throughout. The view isn't always the best either. Some of the stands are modern and nice, but the older ones just look really, really bad. Obviously, overall it is a fairly nice ground, but I think it just lets itself down with those run-down parts of the stadium. And obviously, yeah, for sure, does need some work doing on it. But yeah, for me, I think, it's 18th in this list. And obviously, I've been a few times, and yeah, I've got a good kind of idea of what it's like there. So yeah, 18th for me. In 17th place then is Wycombe's Stadium, a ground I've not been to, so I'm going on the opinion of the town fans here again, but it's a nice location, so I've heard, surrounded by trees, like our stadium really. Our stadium is surrounded by trees, you know what I mean? It's a nice ground, apparently. Some nice stands, bigger than others, but overall it's a nice average, League One ground, typical League One ground, which obviously reflects where I've put this stadium on the list. So yeah, for me, 17th for Wycombe. So up next, playoff winners and new boys Wimbledon up into League One now. Again, another ground I've not been to yet. I don't think many fans will have been to this ground unless for us especially, because obviously, yeah, we haven't crossed paths with them in recent memory. But yeah, obviously, from what other fans have said, it is a nice ground. You can tell it's very new. Obviously, the pictures certainly shows the design of it is very nice as well. The pictures do look good, to be fair. Now, the only downside is the access to it. So I've heard, obviously, apparently it's an absolute pain to get to. The traffic is horrendous around the ground in the area. You can't park. The supporters coaches struggle to park nearby. Once you do go in, though, it's supposed to be a really nice ground, though, to be fair. But the access does tarnish this one for me very much so, and for me, it just seems like it's just been plonked down in the completely wrong location, the worst possible location, and the ground itself and the architectural features of it makes it a nice stadium though for sure. But from what people have said and what I've seen on the pictures side of things, but yeah, that's why I'm going to put them in 16th place for Wimbledon. Up next, then, I've gone for Mansfield Town, the one called Stadium, in 15th. Again, another Town fan's perspective, as I haven't been yet. From what Franz have said, last season, then only 3 sides to it was with a 4th to come in the future. But that is a downside to the stadium, just having 3 sides. The views are good, the access is good, the facilities are good. Parking slightly an issue and could be much better than what it is. Whether they've improved that, when we go this season, I don't know, but certainly should have been looked at over the summer in terms of those parking issues. And for that reason, I think 15th is a reasonable place to put them. Up next, then, in 14th, I've gone for Stockport County, of course, at Edgeley Park, their stadium. I've been numerous times, and I think it's a really nice stadium. Decent size and capacity, not too far to get to for us Town fans. It's one of the older grounds, isn't it? And some of the stands do look a bit run down, but I think it still has character about it. So yeah, I do like Stockport. It's a nice stadium. They are investing, obviously, in improvements to the stadium too. So once they complete that work, then I may have them higher up next time. But yeah, 14th, I think, is a fair reflection of how the stadium is. A really nice ground, good away day, not far to travel for us, good atmosphere as well. But I just think obviously, like I say, it is an old ground and the stands do look a bit run down. And I think they do need to put money into that. And obviously they will be doing, obviously, the fair play to the people, the owners at Stockport, who obviously clearly are investing a lot in the stadium and the area. So yeah, we'll see what they do. But for now, I'll keep it in 14th. For me, in 13th, then, I've gone for Port Vale, another of the promoted sides to League One, of course, this time. Again, another fan perspective. I've not been to this stadium still, but yeah, it's a big stadium, though, isn't it? The capacity. But some of the views in the away end, from what I've heard, isn't very good. But it is a very nice stadium. The atmosphere is very loud when it's full. The access to it is supposed to be unique, as the access from lower down, apparently. Also, plenty of parking around, which is also always useful, isn't it, for away fans that are travelling there. So yeah, for me, really good stadium, really nice from what I've heard and seen. And yeah, that's why I put them in 13th place. Up next, then, I've gone for Leyton Orient, Brisbane Road, of course. I really like this stadium, to be fair. I really, really do. From the design, which is great, to the views, which are very good. A nice size too for them. I think it's pretty cool as well how, if you look at all the corners of the stadium, they're filled with either flats or offices. So it's unique, that, because you don't see that at stadiums. So I think that kind of adds to the uniqueness of it. But overall, a really nice experience, good away day. The ground, I just think it's a really nice, good experience that, just kind of makes you want to go back there, if your team plays them the following season. So yeah, for me, fair play to Orient, and I've just put them in 12th place for this time. So up next, in 11th place, Bradford City, of course, Valley Parade, a stadium I've not been to, despite being so close to us here in West Yorkshire, our neighbours. But we just haven't crossed paths over recent years, haven't we? Really, and I'm kind of going off fans' opinions here. I've actually drove past the stadium, but I've not actually been in it. But yeah, very high capacity. You know what I mean? The two of the stands you can see here, obviously double tiered. So obviously a lot of fans go in there and obviously create a loud atmosphere. It's a good older ground though, isn't it? I think now obviously the away end is apparently quite poor overall. The area surrounding it is terrible. And there are a few parking places you can park in as well, so that makes it useful to kind of get to accessibility wise. But yeah, I think it's obviously one of the newly promoted sides, and yeah, they're back in League One after so many years. And yeah, I think it is a good ground, but I can't put it any higher than that just because I just don't think it's like a wow kind of stadium. From my opinion, probably get a lot of flack for that, but that's just the way I see it. Into the top 10 then. So up next then is Blackpool, of course, Bloomfield Road. I've been many times to Blackpool, apart from, and, uh, apart from visiting when it's been really, we always seem to play them when it's really, really cold. It's different this season actually because we actually got them early on in August, of course, mid-August. So we're actually going in the summer and it's a daytime game, thank goodness. We usually go on a night game when it's freezing cold. And yes, it's a nice change. But yeah, look, Blackpool, I think it's a very good away day. I enjoy it anyway. I think, the the views in the stadium can be a little bit of pain with the posts. It depends where you are. I will say that. I mean, there's a lot of posts that can get in the way of seeing the action, but I think it's decent still. Obviously, the bits that I do like is the obviously the hotel is obviously at the front. The shop is nice. The front of the stadium looks quite nice as well. Everything just looks really good. Plenty of parking available. The only downside was obviously the away end itself. Like I said, in terms of the view, and then obviously in terms of the facilities as well. The length of time it can take to get food is a nightmare. Getting out of the away end if it's full, and we tend to do very well with taking fans there. To be fair, and yeah, it can take a while to get out of as well, which is just not ideal at all, is it? And then, and yeah, so look, for me, plenty of improvements to be made, but I still think it's enough to get in the top 10 because I just really enjoy going, and yeah, I think it's a class away there to be honest with you. Up next, then in ninth, I've gone for Barnsley, Oakwell Stadium, of course. Again, a ground that I've been to many times, but one that isn't too far to travel to get to for us. It's okay, but again, plenty of improvements to be made here. I think some of the stands quite old and could do with upgrading a little bit, but the away end is obviously a big open end with good views, and yeah, you don't really have any obstructions as such. Parking, plenty to go at. The area okay, but I think accessibility could be better if I'm being honest with you. Look, if you want to get the train in, and obviously the train obviously does stop outside the stadium. I just think how busy it can get on there, and it's just too busy. I just think that can be a pain having to wait for a train if you get the train in, and yeah, no, getting away from the ground. Yeah, no, for me it's just not ideal at all. I think car park that you can park on site is poorly designed on a slope. Grass. I think last time I drove there, I actually got stuck on the grass because it was so muddy that day. So yeah, it's not really ideal to be in terms of the how the parking is organised. To be honest, and it takes ages to get out of as well. So yeah, but yeah, overall a good experience. Really good away day. And that kind of reflects on where I put it. But I just think overall it just needs that oomph to get it a bit higher, in my opinion. So yeah, overall good experience. But for me, Barnsley fans, you are in ninth place for your stadium. Up next then is Plymouth at Home Park in eighth place. A ground I haven't been to, but I based the prediction on what other town fans have said, to be fair. A lot of redevelopment, so I'm told that Plymouth, it looks great. It's a beautiful part of the world as well, which obviously adds to the attraction of people going there. Good parking directly outside, really modern ground, facilities good, decent view in the away end. Atmosphere is fantastic, and they always manage to fill it up, which obviously makes it a good atmosphere. A nice ground, and for me, I think for that reason, I think it deserves to be in eighth place, and that's where I put it. So yeah, hopefully I can get there this season. Obviously, I've not been before, as I've already alluded to earlier, but it'd be nice to get there this time, and as long as Sky don't change it, and yeah, we'll go there on a night game, which we're definitely not doing. But yeah, Plymouth in eighth place. Up next, then in seventh, I've actually gone for New York Stadium, the home of Rotherham United. I think the stadium, is really nice. I've been a few times, and I think I've had a good experience overall when I've visited there. Apart from results at times, which have been not very good. But yeah, I remember one that we did a few years ago, actually, where I think it was promotion scenes to the Premier League, actually. It was many years ago now. And yeah, we, I think Tommy Smith winner, wasn't it? Last minute. All right, I'm sure town fans know and remember that one. But yeah, in recent memory, we haven't really done very well there, to be honest with you. Obviously, it is one of the newest stadiums. Easy access, good parking, facilities really good. Views from the away end is good. Obviously, it's all around the ground, but in the away end, I'm sat anywhere else, obviously, but the away end, it's like a steep slope, and I just think the acoustics of the stadium kind of helps the atmosphere ramp up. Rotherham fans don't really get many fans in there, but I think in the away end you can get a good atmosphere going if it's full, which we tend to bring a lot to Rotherham. So yeah, I think they've done a fantastic job with this stadium, though. Perfect size for them as well. So yeah, I like Rotherham. Great facilities and everything, and really nice to look. Really nice design, the stadium, and not too far for us to travel either here in Huddersfield. So yeah, bonus as well. So yes, Rotherham, you are in my seventh place. This is where it starts to get a bit interesting. We're now into the top six. So in sixth place, I've gone for Wigan Athletic, the DW Stadium. Been many times to Wigan, and I'd say it's a very good away day. Apart from last season, when I actually ended up driving all the way there, only for it to be called off after the surrounding areas just being flooded. So yeah, I had to come back and seeing the game. But yeah, in previous visits, I've really liked it. Really nice ground, great organisation and set up there as well. I think easy access to get to, lots of parking available in and around the ground. Food is decent. It's a really nice stadium. Probably the reason I haven't got this one any higher is because of the lack of atmosphere within the ground due to the number of home fans they tend to get. But the ground itself is definitely up there with one of the best in League One. But I just think I've kind of ranked my stadiums in terms of the atmosphere that they create in the stadium as well as just the stadium itself, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think that's why it's just knocked down a few places because of that. But overall, really, really good. I do like visiting Wigan. Up next then is Doncaster Rovers, another newly promoted team. I think their stadium is a very nice ground. The design of the stadium is good. And when full, it's loud. So the acoustics in these newer stadiums, as well as I alluded to earlier, with Rotherham, tend to be really good, though. You know what I mean? Parking everywhere around the ground is very good. Although the only downside is it is terrible to get out of those car parks if you've been in. Then I've visited a few times, and yeah, it's not the best. Access all around the stadium, though, obviously really good facilities. So yeah, I think for me, really nice and modern design. I really like the design of the stadium, and yeah, obviously one of the newer grounds. And yeah, really, 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 really good experience to visit. So yes, definitely up there with one of the best grounds in this division. I'm looking forward to going back there this season. Of course, again, not too far for us to travel here in Huddersfield. So yes, Doncaster Rovers in fifth place there. Up next then is Bolton Wanderers in fourth. Yes, ironically though, the same design as our stadium, which obviously you can kind of look at the comparisons between the two. They do look kind of similar a little bit. I think that the Bolton Stadium was designed after our stadium, but you can see the similarities, and you can tell it's the same designer that did the stadium. But yeah, look, for me, I do love Bolton. I think it's a good away day. Very unique looking design, just like ours. And one of the biggest stadiums in the league. Really good access. I mean, loads of parking around the stadium. No problem there. Facilities good. And the food nice. The view in the away end is good too. I just think it's overall a really fantastic experience, atmospheric stadium as well when it is full. They do create a bit of noise in there. And yeah, look, I really haven't got any complaints about Bolton. I think it's always a stadium I like to visit, and I've been there many, many times. And yeah, really, really good to go there. So yeah, for me, I just think it just misses out on the top three, but I think it was very close between fourth and third in these predictions for me. But look, Bolton, you're in fourth. Up next in third, it is, of course, us, our stadium. Yes, the newly named Aku Stadium. I'm probably going to be biased. Maybe I'm being biased with where I put it in the rankings. But for me, we are. I do believe that our ground is one of the best in the division, and definitely up there as this is proved. So we've got a bronze medal here for this one, for our home. Well, I think it's a really nice ground, our stadium, isn't it? Very well designed. Definitely nice views wherever you are in the ground. I've sat in all four stands, and yeah, you can't complain. To be honest with you, you know what I mean. You do get a really good view. Obviously, I love the blue and white seats. Obviously, it's kind of a new addition. Well, the Premier League. Yeah, it's a really nice kind of when it's full as well. I know it's been full recently, but when it's full, it just create a lot of atmosphere. The facilities, though, is probably why it's not in the top two, if I'm being honest. In terms of the toilets are disgusting, really. If I'm honest, it needs improving massively. Kevin Nagel is onto that. Food is getting slightly better. It was awful. It's been awful recently, but I do think last season it was certainly better. But still needs to be so much better as well. So there's still a lot of work to be done there. I think there has been a lot of renovations there around the ground since, or inside the ground as well, since the new owner Kevin Nagel took over a few years ago. And obviously, it does make a good atmosphere when it's full as well. So yeah, it's like our second home. We love to be at, and yeah, obviously it is a nice one, and very kind of proud to call it our home. To be fair, there is. So yeah, we move into second place then. I've chosen Reading. I think it's a really good away day to do a great ground Premier League pedigree again. This one, for sure. Great capacity for this level. Lots of parking around as well at the stadium. I've been many times. Easy to get to a lot. Lots of things to walk around the stadium too, and the view in the away end is really good as well. He does miss out on the number one spot, but I think it's overall a very, very good ground down at Reading, and I mean, I don't really have any complaints about it. It is a bit of a distance for us, but the stadium itself, when you arrive, I just think the overall experience is really, really good, and that's why I put them in that second place. Which leaves our number one going to Cardiff City. Of course, the highest in capacity, this one is, of course, an international stadium. Held many football games, especially in the national team for Wales there. The top stadium, especially for this level in League One, and probably one of the better ones in the Championship as well, if you look at it really. But, nice design, I think. You know what I mean? I've been a few times. Facilities really good. Good parking. Great view in the away end as well. And for sure, such a loud atmosphere they generate when it's really full. But yeah, for me, certainly one of the very best in League One. And that's why I put it in the top split. I just think it is the best. Very good away day, albeit a very, very long one for us if you do it all in one day. But yeah, really, really good. And I think that's why I've kind of put them in that top spot. So that is the end of this video where we have ranked all 24 teams in League One for the 25-26 season and reviewed elements to each ground as well throughout. If you agreed or disagreed with me, do let me know down below in the comments. Smash that like button if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And thank you very, very much for watching. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and as always, up the town. League Ranks by Miami, and I'll see you all on the next one.